Good morning. It is Wednesday, February 24th. I'm driving into the West End Gun Club. Took the day out from work. Take a personal day just to have some time off for myself. Wasn't really planning to come to the range, so woke up this morning. Didn't really have any real plans, and I just threw a couple pistols in a bag, got some ammo, some gear, and just threw it in the Jeep and decided to drive out here this morning just to get some rounds down range. I'm using my GoPro mount on a vector bar, which I showed my vector bar in a previous vlog, but I also now have a GoPro mount that fits on it. I'm not sure. Last vlog I actually used this, and I wasn't really recording on a bumpy area like I am now, so I'm not sure how good the image stabilization is with the GoPro, considering it's such heavy vibrations. But I'm going to be interested to see this when I'm editing the video. But anyway, not really much to say right now while I'm driving in, but let's go ahead and get into the range and start shooting.
It's actually pretty warm out here in Southern California today. Depending on where you're at, it's going to be about 70 degrees. Up here, I'm saying it's at least 70 with the sun bearing down on you. I think they got high wind warning coming up, so later tonight, which is pretty typical for this time of year. Santa Ana winds, for those of you unfamiliar with that, it's just a term they use in Southern California to refer to this wind flow that comes in through the Santa Anas. But anyway, and I think we're supposed to hit another cold front again next week for Southern California, so it's probably drop down to the 50s or 60s. That's cold for us. No, most of the country's pretty much snowed in or whatever, but yeah, we get pretty mild weather out here in SoCal, but our summers get hot, I'll tell you right now. Inland Empire, where I'm at, 100-degree weather, at least 3-4 weeks out of the year. Not straight, but sometimes. I remember one year we had 2 weeks straight 100+ degree. That was terrible. At least we don't have humidity, which is a good thing. Anyway, I am using a new camera. So you see, I have my Olympus here, and I have a Lumix GH5. It's a Panasonic GH5, also known as a Panasonic Lumix GH5. So I bought that new camera because I needed another camera for video that did 4K aside from a GoPro, which is a little sketchy sometimes. So we're gonna play around with this today. It's the first time I actually used it. I actually had to change a setting because I think some of the B-roll footage I recorded didn't work, but we'll see how this turns out. Otherwise this vlog's a wash because you won't be watching this if this isn't recording correctly. As far as the GH5, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on technical stuff, but this is actually a 3-year-old camera. It came out back in 2017. I think both these cameras came out at the same time, roughly. I think this one came after. This is the OMD EM1 Mark II. They have a Mark III, and that's actually a really good camera still. And they're both using the same format, micro four thirds, so they use the same lenses and the same sensor size or format. And I used to shoot DSLRs. I was a Canon guy. I had full frame, but I bought the Olympus micro four thirds, and I felt it fit my needs better. I wasn't shooting portrait photography that much anymore. And so I tried micro four thirds, and I was using that, and the lenses are a lot cheaper, and I could get the distance I needed with those lenses for a lot less than on full frame. For example, I have an Olympus 300 millimeter. It's equivalent to 600 millimeter on a full frame camera. So it's like 600 millimeter effective. I paid $2,500 for that lens, 25, roughly under that. To get that same, it's an f4 lens, 600 millimeter effective with image stabilization. To get that same lens on the Canon full format, I would have to pay $12,000 or $13,000 for that. Granted, Canon's going to be a better. It's going to be a better resolution image because you're going to be on a full frame sensor. But I've shot that 300 or 600 millimeter effective on the micro four thirds, and it shoots great photos. even though you're on a smaller sensor size. And so I just felt like Micro Four Thirds was better for me, and I dumped all my DSLR gear because it was also I had the 5D Mark III, and I was already phased out for the 4. Some of my lenses were actually updated, so they had new versions of those. So I said, let me just get out of this right now, get my money, as much money as I can back, and then just go on Micro Four Thirds. And so that's where I'm at. And so when I wanted to buy a new camera, I said, oh, I was going to actually get a Mark III, the updated version of this, but I ended up not doing that. And got the GH5 because that's a little bit more renowned for its video, and so I just got that one for the video. It takes good photos as well, but it's more for the video capabilities of that. I was thinking about getting the Canon, the R5, which is their new mirrorless camera, which is a full frame sensor. It's about $3,800 or $4,000, not counting a lens. And I was like, do I really want to invest right now on this? And I just felt like it wasn't really in the cards for me because there's other things I need to spend my money on. If I were still shooting portrait photography, if you've seen some of my work that I've been doing like 10 years ago, I might have gotten the R5 instead of this GH5 just to supplement my Micro Four Thirds EM1 Mark II. But I'm not really. And I shoot product photography here and there. I get commissions from time to time. I shot for Fix It Sticks. I did a lot of their promo work early on. Since I think they're doing some of our photography work in-house, or they got someone else, but it's no big deal. They came out and asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? But I shot product photography with Micro Four Thirds just fine. No one can tell the difference, like if it's full frame versus APS-C versus Micro Four Thirds. In the end, especially on the web, the capabilities of cameras, no one's going to tell the difference. If you know what you're doing with your camera, you can take great photos regardless. Obviously there's limitations, right? I'm not going to shoot low light night shots with these cameras and get great images, but anyway, got the GH5. It's a 3-year-old camera, but it's brand new. I bought it, and I think they're coming out with a GH6, but I didn't want to wait for that. I just needed something now. So we'll see how this video goes. We'll see how this video on this camera goes when I edit this. Hopefully it comes out okay. But let me go ahead and load some mags, and we'll go ahead and start shooting. So why don't I just mention that I brought my Glock 19. This is my Gen 3 with the Holosun on it, 507C, and I brought out which is my carry gun where I have a permit, and this is my Glock 26 Gen 4, which is all pimped out with this titanium nitride coating on the barrel. But it's in a FDE, so this is like the Lipsy's exclusive that came out 6 or 7 years ago. It's in the Glock FDE or whatever, if you want to call it that, Glock FDE. That's the term they use, I think, if you get the Cerakote, if you look for the Cerakote match. But I brought this out because I don't really shoot it, doesn't really get any range time, so I figure you might as well get used to try to practice on this form factor while I'm out here. So anyway, let's load some mags. I actually forgot the spare battery. I have a second battery for this camera, so we'll see how long this camera actually lasts today, or this morning while I'm recording. On my EM1 Mark II, I actually, depending on how I record video, I only need one battery. And those are older batteries too, so this one actually lasts today. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll just switch to my other camera. So shoot some warm-up shots. So I used to try to do some tactical training stuff many years ago. You can probably see some of my old videos, but I really have no cadence, right? I just come up here, take a couple warm-up shots, and I just shoot some drills. And that's all I really do. And I do some turning drills, some reloading drills, but other than that, I don't really do much. And I know you'll see some of these trainers like Travis Haley of Haley Strategic, and Larry Vickers of Vickers Tactical, and other trainers. They have their own ideologies behind this stuff, and theirs is really good, right? They have a good mentality in their approach to training. So I highly recommend you actually try to seek out one of those instructors and follow try to get into their mantra of actually just figuring out a good training regimen, because this stuff is a perishable skill, right? And I'll admit, I'm not the best shooter in the world, by far. I don't even say I'm that good, to be honest. I could be pretty bad. But you come out here and you practice, right? And that's kind of why I'm doing these vlogs, right? I always wonder, like, the reason why I started these vlogs is because I come to the range and I just shoot and that's it, and I don't really do much. And I think I got to that point where I felt like I just came to the range, did my thing and left, right? And I just tested loads, shot a few rounds, but I felt like I wasn't really improving or anything. And I still think for pistols, I definitely haven't improved at all in the past 10 years. I sort of just like stayed the same. And I can function well enough where I can shoot relatively fast and relatively accurately if it were a defensive situation. But I question whether or not like what I'm doing now is any benefit to improving my skill set. So that's why I'm saying just don't, I mean, you see what I'm doing. Probably shouldn't follow what I'm doing, because I come out here and I'm just shooting, just randomly shooting at a target, just getting some exercise, right? But am I really improving my skill set? So definitely if you're trying to improve your shooting, I would probably go to a class or a good school of some sort. And I know a lot of people are kind of cynical about all these different schools or whatever. And I'll admit I've been to a couple, and whether or not they're any good, that begs a debate. But if anything, I just feel like it exposes me to other ways of approaching what we're doing here. And I figure that once you kind of expose yourself to all the various ways of thought and training approaches, maybe you'll learn and you'll develop something for yourself. I don't know, I just kind of stream of consciousness while I'm shooting. But anyway, if you can see on my target, I'm shooting pretty accurately. I mean, it's just not much to say here. I mean, it's a Holosun, so it's kind of hard to miss. Frankly, I should probably be shooting tighter groups, but again, it's just me exercising, getting a sight acquisition, reset, figuring all that out. But let me go ahead and take this camera off the tripod here, and we'll just take a look at this real quick. I mean, it's not even 7 yards, if that, and just exercising, getting my target, sight acquisition, sight alignment, sight picture, trigger press, trigger pull, and just sort of getting that warm up, if you want to call it a warm up. So ideally, you're supposed to be able to get a shot off in a second. I'm only like 1.5, which is really bad. I mean, 1 second is kind of like, you have to be under 1 second from draw to fire in a well-aimed shot, so. I mean, I can speed it up. The thing is, am I truly aiming? As opposed to pointing. So right now I didn't acquire my dot, right? So that's the one difficulty with a red dot, is making sure you get it quiet. That was a low shot, 141, 1.41. So 1.48, so I'm like 1.5 seconds from draw to fire. 1.32. That was on the edge of the A zone. 136. So my follow-up when I do double taps are pretty good. Like I can tap twice, do 3 shots really quickly. Like that one, I was 1.5 on the draw, 1.84 on the second shot, so that's a 0.34 split between my first and the second shot, 0.34 seconds. And taking that second follow-up shot and the third follow-up shot for me is really easy. It's just getting the first shot off fast is hard for me. So that was with a reload. I didn't realize I had a reload. So that's probably a good time to practice reloads when you don't know you have you're empty on the gun. So I was actually surprised by that. 1.44 on the first shot, 4.47 for the second shot. So it took me 3 seconds to do a reload, which is really bad. And then 3 seconds to do a reload to get my second shot off, and then 4.85 for the third shot. So 1.44 first shot, 3 second split for the second shot, and a 0.38 split for the third shot. That reload, you got to practice that a lot. I usually do that when I come out here, is try to practice reloads. But you can get faster and faster, right, as you're practicing throughout the day, because you're warming yourself up, right, and you're constantly doing it. I think for me, you want to be able to do a fast reload fast the first time you have to do it, right? Because who knows, you'll never get that second chance to reload if it's an emergency situation. So I don't know, you come out here and do these practice drills and stuff, and you time yourself, and sometimes I think that, hey, you're not really setting yourself up for success if you're basing your timing after like 20 reloads at the range, right? Oh yeah, my reload speeds went up on the 20th one. Well, yeah, it did, because you were constantly reiterating that for 20 seconds, 20 times in an hour or whatever. So I don't know, being able to do it a cold reload the first time, I think that's probably the best way to indicate whether or not you're doing well, I guess. But anyway, enough talking, more shooting. So that was pretty decent. I was 1.34 on the first shot, 1.55 on the second shot, then a 2.39 for the third shot, and 3 seconds for the fourth shot. So I got 4 shots in 3 seconds on 2 targets. And that's at 25 yards roughly. So I got like 1 at 7 and 1 at 25 yards. Pretty good transition. 1.34, 2-1 split, 8-4 split, 6-1 split. Of course, doesn't work when you miss. Getting a little sloppy on that first shot on the close target. I did a video or a vlog, and I think I did a blog post on the Holosun 507C, which I've had for quite some time now. Quite some time, maybe like a year, 2 years? 2 years, 3 years, I don't remember. Anyway, people they reach out to me and ask me how it's holding up, and I think it's holding up great. Unfortunately, I have such a bad experience with the RMRs. Not the RMR Type 2s though, the second gen apparently, but the original RMRs, I've had such bad luck with those. I went through 3 of them. I can't recommend those at all, and this Holosun has been holding up. Granted, I don't think I have as many rounds to this Holosun as I do with the RMRs. I probably have maybe 5,000 rounds, 6,000 rounds to the RMRs, and the Holosun have only got maybe 1,500, 2,000 rounds with the Holosun on this gun, on the slide as it is configured right now. But right now it's been holding up, and I've had no complaints about it. It surprisingly shoots, it functions well so far. It's one of the few things that, are made in China. People just hate made in China, but this is actually a really good product. It's well made. So I still recommend the Holosun right now. I was kind of a skeptic. A friend of mine, he recommended Holosuns, and I'll actually reference his YouTube channel, because he has a YouTube channel as well. He moved out to Texas. He used to work at my building when I used to have an office at the UC offices where I was located, and he was a security guard there. And he recommended, or he was talking about the Holosun Holosuns, and he mentioned like the 507, And he told me, hey, it's an RMR like clone. And he said, yeah, it's getting good word of mouth. And I was like, you know what? I can't believe that this clone, this Chinese made optic will do any better than the RMR, which I had so much bad luck with. But it was inexpensive at the time. I think $300, $250, I think. I got it for $250, which is, I don't say it's inexpensive, but cheaper than RMR. And I said, you know what? Let me risk it, right? Everyone's saying it's so great. I mean, there's a lot of bigger names out there who are saying, who are getting on the web and talking it up. So I said, you know what, I'll try it out. And hey, everyone's right, it's pretty good. I've actually got 2 Holosuns 507s. I'm probably going to get another one because I actually want to put a red dot on my Glock 26. I'm probably going to get another slide for that, and we'll run a red dot on the Glock 26. But anyway, Holosun 507C, still working great. If you're looking to get one for your gun, for your Glock, I recommend it. It's actually performing quite well. So I've never shot with these extensions on here. I have these Pierce grip extensions on this Glock 26 mag, and they're actually really sharp. They're eating into my pinky. They're pretty sharp. I want to have to file these down because it really ate into my pinky. Like, it stings. Like, it's almost like cutting in. So yeah, I'm gonna have to file these down. I do have these Magpul ones as well. These are pretty good. Actually pretty content with these. They're a little bit better in terms of providing a pinky grip, but yeah, I'm gonna have to fix this mag. Not a fan of these Pierce extensions, but I just happen to have one of these. Every so often I get asked about the holster that I use for my Glocks, and this is actually the Raven Concealment Systems Phantom, which they don't make anymore. It's just a basic pancake style Kydex holster. This is a zero cant for the X300 on a G19. They don't make these anymore, but you can get these made by pretty much like a lot of other places like Bravo Concealment. So if you're looking for one, check out like Bravo Concealment. They make these pancake Kydex holsters, and I'm sure there's probably a guy in the area, but might be making them for less money. And if you're so inclined, you can probably make one yourself with just a basic kitchen oven. You can make your own Kydex holsters. But anyway, I'm just too lazy to do that. I just bought a holster from Raven Concealment. Packed up all my gear. I'm just driving my way over to the Connex container over by the rimfire range because that's where I pulled the targets from. I leave one of my steel target bases. There's a couple of my steel target bases over in the Connex container, so I don't have to, carry it with me every time I leave home. Makes these easier for me. So not much shooting today. It was actually pretty quiet at the range. I just did my pistol shooting. Just a couple guys showed up so far. Not really much activity in the back ranges. And but yeah, today was a very casual day of shooting. Just wanted to get some pistol time on my day off. Really had no plans today. Would have shot the rimfire NRL22 March. Today would have been a good day to do it because there's like zero wind. It would have been a nice quiet day to stage the course of fire. Assuming we hold the matches in March, I'm still waiting for that. I need to reach out to the club officials to find out what's going on. But today would have been a good day to practice the March course of fire, but they haven't published the March course of fire yet. So probably maybe this weekend I might come out to the range to shoot the March course of fire and then kind of prep to see if we'll actually have the matches in March. That still remains to be seen. I'll probably know more by the first weekend of March whether or not we're going to have the matches, the NRL22 match in March here at the West End Gun Club. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just put my stuff away and then get out of here. Today is February 24th, Wednesday here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog.